Robin's Nest English. Smaller and smaller. The farm animals were standing on a hill. Goat said, "Look at that little barn on the other hill." "I think I will go to the barn," said Goat. Goat ran down the hill and across a field. "Oh no, Goat is shrinking," said Cow. Goat ran farther. "Goodness me, Goat is shrinking more," said Cow. Goat ran even farther. "Oh no, now Goat has disappeared," said Cow. "I will fly to the barn to find Goat," said Duck. Duck began to fly to the barn. "Oh no, Duck is shrinking, too," said Cow. Duck flew farther. "Oh no, now Duck has disappeared," said Cow. "I will run to the barn and find Goat and Duck," said Pig. Pig ran to the barn. "Oh no, Pig is shrinking, too," said Cow. Pig ran farther and farther. "Goodness me, now Pig has disappeared," said Cow. "I'd better go find Pig, Duck, and Goat," she said. Cow began to run toward the barn. She ran down the hill. The barn began to get bigger. Cow ran across the field. The barn became bigger and bigger. Cow reached the barn. She could see it was a very big barn. She saw Pig, Duck, and Goat. They were the right size now that she was near them again. The Owl and the Pussycat. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped in a $5 note. The owl looked up at the stars above. He sang with a small guitar. "Oh, lovely kitty, oh kitty, my love. What a beautiful kitty you are, you are, you are. What a beautiful kitty you are." Kitty said to the owl, "You're such a nice fowl. And how wonderfully sweet you sing." Then the lovely kitty said, "I think we should wed. But what shall we do for a ring?" They then sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the palm tree grows. And there in the wood a piggy-wig stood. She had a ring at the end of her nose, her nose, her nose. She had a ring at the end of her nose. Then they asked the fat pig, "Will you trade the ring for a wig?" Said the fat piggy, "I will." So they took it away. They got married the next day by the turkey who lived on the hill. They dined on sweet peas and sharp, smelly cheese. And they ate with a funny-shaped spoon. Then hand in hand they danced in the sand. They danced by the light of the moon, the moon, the moon. They danced by the light of the moon. Friends around the world. Follow the sun around the world, and find new friends in new places. Some are like you, and some are different. But they all love to play and sing. I am Changyeon, and I am 10. My family lives in a city apartment in South Korea. I like to study science in school. I play ball with my friends after school. For dress up, I wear a shiny silk jacket. My favorite food is barbecued beef called bulgogi. Jessica is my name, and I am an Aboriginal Australian. I am 6, and my brother is 4. We live with my mother and grandmother. My mother works as a cook. I love to throw a boomerang and watch kangaroos hop around. I am Natasha, and I am 7. My home is an apartment in Moscow, Russia. I like ballet dancing. In winter, I wear a fur hat and coat. I make snow houses and angels. I love to eat pancakes called bline. I live in Tanzania, and Manka is my name. We live in a wooden hut with a grass roof. My father takes care of our cattle. I help carry water from the well. I like to wear my pretty beaded collar. I make toys out of soft clay. I am called Kipanik, and I am an Inuit. I live in northern Canada where it is cold and snowy. My dogs pull me on my sled. I like to play ice hockey. My dad and his friends hunt for caribou. I like caribou meat with ketchup. How are you like these children? How are you different? You, too, can be part of this worldwide friendship circle. Do you want to join? Animals. The elk is in the deer family. Males have large antlers. Elk are excellent swimmers and can run very fast. Wildcats hide in tree trunks and the burrows of other animals. They hunt rats, mice, birds, and rabbits. Badgers live in burrows. They eat roots, fruits, eggs, and insects. They can be mean fighters. The puma is a large cat. It is also called a cougar, panther, or mountain lion. It eats deer, birds, and other animals. Elands are a kind of antelope. They live on grasslands. They can live for weeks without drinking water. Long ago, many large herds of bison roamed grasslands. Most of these bison were killed by hunters. Today, hunters are not allowed to hunt bison. This camel has a long winter coat. When it is well fed, its humps stand up. The humps fall to one side if the camel has not eaten. The fox is a member of the dog family. It lives in a burrow. It eats small animals, including frogs. Snow leopards live on cold mountains. They have thick fur to stay warm. They hunt wild goats, sheep, and other animals. The great gray kangaroo carries its babies in its pouch. It uses its strong back legs to hop. Kangaroos eat grass and other plants. The hippopotamus spends most of its time in water. It eats grass and water plants. Its eyes and nostrils stick out so that it can see and breathe when underwater. Polar bears live in cold places. They have thick fur. They eat seals, walruses, small mammals, birds, and fish. I'd like to be a silly clown and make the whole world laugh. Wear floppy clothes, a bright red nose, and cut all worries in half. If I could have one wish, a basketball player I'd be. I'd leap so high with hoop and eye. Make baskets for all to see. I'd like to be a gardener, grow green and healthy things. I'd plant the seeds, I'd water, and pull weeds. Then see what sunlight brings. I dreamed I was a mermaid swimming in the sea. The fish and whales shared their tails, and dolphins sang to me. Oh, to be a cowboy, ride horses all day long. I'd rope them tight, camp out at night, and sing a prairie song. If I could learn to move with grace, a dancer I would be. I'd twirl, I'd fly, I'd leap so high. So strong and oh, so free. What joy to be an artist! I want to paint the earth. Fill all in sight with colors bright. Paint people's hearts with mirth. I think I'll be a pirate and be so wild and bold. I'll sail with crew on the ocean blue. Find treasure chests of gold. A superhero I'd like to be. I'd wear a cape and mask. And if I could, I'd do much good. And be up to any task. I think I'll be an astronaut and fly up toward the moon. And from that place in endless space, I'll sing a merry tune. A zookeeper I'd like to be. I'd feed the snakes and rhinos, gazelles, wombats, and all big cats. But sad to say, not dinos. I'd like to be a musician. It's all I want to be. Play songs so sweet for all I meet. Yes, music, that's for me. Maria's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was Maria's favorite holiday. Her whole family came to visit. And there was always lots of good food to eat. Maria's mom and grandmother made turkey and tamales. Aunt Carla brought the stuffing. Aunt Liz brought black beans. And Uncle Carlos brought sweet potato pie. After dinner, the women talked. The men watched football. And the kids played games. But this Thanksgiving, there was a snowstorm. Nobody could come. Thanksgiving is ruined, said Maria. Maria and her family went outside. They saw some of their neighbors. Their neighbors were unhappy, too. I was going to go to my son's house, said Mr. Lee. I made sticky rice, but no turkey. I was going to go to my sister's house, said Mrs. Florio. I made my special pasta and homemade bread. But no turkey. I don't have turkey either, said Miss White. My mother was going to bring it. All I have is pumpkin pie. Suddenly Maria got an idea. She whispered her idea to her mom. What a wonderful idea, said Mom. We have turkey, Maria told the neighbors. Please come to our home for Thanksgiving dinner, said Mom. So they did. There was lots of good food to eat. Maria felt thankful for her family, for good food, and for good neighbors. Police officers. Walk the streets of almost any country in the world, and you will probably see police officers. They help people and keep them safe. They help enforce laws. They patrol the streets. They control crowds. They protect property. And they solve crimes. Becoming a police officer. If you want to be a police officer, you need to care about people. You have to want to help people. You have to solve problems. And you have to stay calm in difficult situations. In many countries, police officers get training at special schools. These schools are called police academies. Police officers learn things at the academy that help them do their job. They learn about laws. They learn how to control people. They learn about the safe use of weapons. And they learn how to treat injuries. Police uniforms. In different countries, police officers wear different uniforms. The most common color for police uniforms is dark blue. That is why police officers are often called men in blue. But in some countries, the uniforms are tan or green. Police officers wear many kinds of hats. Many police officers wear flat-topped hats with small bills. State troopers and forest rangers wear hats with wide brims. Some police officers wear helmets. Others wear hats that look like baseball caps. The pictures show some of the different kinds of hats worn by police officers around the world. How police officers get around. To do their job, most police officers have to move from place to place. Some police officers walk the streets. Others ride around in cars. Police officers who patrol traffic often ride motorcycles. Police officers in some places ride horses. Some even get around on bicycles. There are police officers who patrol places by flying in helicopters. And there are police officers who patrol waterways in boats. How police officers help people. There are many ways police officers help people. They stop crime. They direct traffic. Police officers help lost children find their parents. They stop speeders. What other ways do police officers help people? How the Mice Beat the Men. The mice and the men ate the same foods. They lived in the same houses. But they did not like each other at all. The mice said the men ate too much food. The men said the mice gnawed the walls of the houses. The mice and men decided to go to war. The men were sure they would win. They were so much bigger than the mice. The men did many things to get ready for the war. They put new strings on their bows. They put feathers on their arrows. They made slings to throw rocks at the mice. Before the war, the men had a big war dance. The dancing made them very tired. They all fell asleep. Then the little mice crept into the room. They gnawed the strings of the bows. They cut the feathers from the arrows. They broke the slings with their sharp teeth. Then they gave a great war yell. Squeak! The men woke up, and they saw the mice. They reached for their bows, but the strings were gnawed. They picked up their arrows. The feathers were all cut. They took up their slings. Every sling was broken. The men had nothing to fight with. They could not drive the mice away. The mice won the war, even though they were smaller. Mice have been in men's houses ever since. Wing's visit to Singapore. Wing went to Singapore to visit his Uncle Lee. Singapore was hot. Wing did not like to be hot. Uncle Lee liked to fish when it was hot. He took Wing to Badak Jetty to fish. Wing had never fished. I don't like fishing, said Wing. How do you know if you have never tried? Asked Uncle Lee. I just know, said Wing. Will you try? Asked Uncle Lee. Can you teach me? Asked Wing. Yes, said Uncle Lee. Uncle Lee gave Wing a fishing pole. He showed Wing how to put a worm on the hook. Uncle Lee threw his line into the water. Wing threw his line into the water, too. Uncle Lee felt something pull on his line. Wing looked to see what it was. Uncle Lee had caught a fish. Wing wanted to catch a fish. Uncle Lee had caught 5 fish. Wing had not caught any. I don't like fishing, said Wing. You will catch a fish, said Uncle Lee. Wing felt something pull on his line. He looked to see what it was. He did not see a fish. Wing pulled his line out of the water. The worm was gone. Uncle Lee and Wing laughed together. I want to try again, said Wing. Uncle Lee put a worm on Wing's hook. Wing threw his line into the water. He felt something pull on his line. Uncle Lee looked to see what it was. Wing had caught a fish. Wing had caught a big fish. I like fishing in Singapore, said Wing. Spring is here. The warmer days of spring. Remember how the sun feels on the first warm day of spring? In spring, each day grows longer and warmer. The plants and animals feel it grow warmer, too. The garden. The flowers send up shoots from round white bulbs. Soon the garden will be filled with color. The robins are back at work. They collect brown grass for a nest. Soon they will feed wiggly worms to hungry babies. The woods. The trees are growing again. The fat buds on a tree grow into big, flat leaves. Caterpillars nibble on them. The cricket comes out from underground. It rubs its wings to make the sound chirp, chirp. The mountains. In the mountains, snow melts away. Streams fill with water. The bear comes out from her underground den. She is hungry. The meadow. A baby deer drinks its mother's milk. Soon it will eat soft spring grass. Gophers kick up piles of brown soil. They nibble on dandelion leaves. The pond. It's also warmer at the pond. The turtles lie on a log in the sun. A water lily's flat, round leaf lies on top of the water. A frog sits on the leaf and makes a sound, ribbit, ribbit. Spring is here. Math test mix-up. Emily couldn't wait to get her math test back. She had studied hard and knew she had done well. Mrs. Mead handed back all the tests, but Emily didn't get her test. Joe didn't get his test either. I have 2 tests without names, Mrs. Mead said. Do you know which test is yours? Mrs. Mead asked Emily and Joe. Emily and Joe looked at the papers. One test had 1 mistake, but the other had 15 mistakes. Emily reached for the paper with 1 mistake. This one is mine, she said. Joe said, No, I think it's mine. It looks like my writing, Emily said. It looks like mine, too, Joe said. Emily stomped her foot and said, I know it's mine. Your name isn't on it, Joe said. Neither is yours, Emily said back. There's only one thing to do since you can't decide, Mrs. Mead said. What's that? Emily and Joe asked. You'll both have to take the test again, Mrs. Mead said. Emily and Joe groaned. This time, please follow all the directions, Mrs. Mead said. First, write your name on your paper. Then answer the questions. When you're finished, bring me your test. Emily thought the test was easy. She didn't miss any questions. Joe thought it was hard. He missed 12 questions. Emily said, Next time, I'll put my name on my paper. And Joe said, next time, I'll study for the test. I could help you study, Emily offered. Would you? Joe asked. Then maybe I'll do as well as you. Weird bird beaks. I am a groove-billed barbet. I have a large, thick beak. I have tooth-like ridges in my lower beak. I feed on fruit and insects. I am a crossbill. My beak is crossed like an X. My crossed beak helps me get seeds from pine cones. I am a crowned hornbill. I live in the rainforest. I have a horn on the top of my beak. I use my heavy beak to break open nuts with hard shells. We are huyas. We lived in New Zealand until we became extinct. I am the male. My beak is thick and strong. I am the female. My beak is thin and curved. I am a sword-billed hummingbird. I am a very small bird with a very long beak. I use my long beak to get nectar from tube-shaped flowers. I am a brown pelican. I have a pouch of skin under my beak. I can carry many fish in my pouch. I hunt for fish in lakes and rivers, and on the coast. I am a shoebill stork. My beak is shaped like a shoe. I like to eat fish. I use the hook at the end of my beak to cut up my food. I am a spoonbill. I wade in water and use my long beak to look for food in the mud. I like to eat frogs, shellfish, seaweed, and small fish. I am a toucan. My huge and colorful beak is very light. I eat fruit, seeds, insects, and eggs. My beak helps me to reach fruit while I sit in jungle trees.